broken right now.
Over the weekend, Trump sharing this morning new backlash as the Trump administration moves forward with a plan to introduce 50-year mortgages.
It looks to be like the president's looking for a quick fix to a market that is fundamentally broken now.
Over the weekend, Trump sharing this image comparing the proposal to the 30-year mortgage policies.
Yo, Trump got like main character syndrome, bro. My son is always trying to change something, like, and it's like a drastic change. He's like, son did 30, I'm gonna do 50. Yo, Trump is always on President Roosevelt, bro. He trying to be on the President Roosevelt. Like, bro, just do your term. You pressing too many buttons, bro. You're playing with too much. Put the joystick down. Pause. You know what I mean? Like, he's pressing too many buttons, man.
Championed by FDR nearly a century ago, the move could potentially kickstart the now stagnant real estate market. Homes are currently seeing the lowest turnover rate in 30 years, and the median age of first-time home buyers just hit an all-time high of 40 years old.
It's really difficult to see right now for younger borrowers how they are going to be able to afford a home.
A longer fixed-rate mortgage would lower monthly payments, but would also create a higher total cost because of all that interest over 5 decades.
And that's the thing. See, what people don't realize is a lot of people are focused on the payment. Like, it's kind of like buying a car. This is the easiest way I can explain this for the average person, because most people have financed a car. Financing a house, having a mortgage, is a lot like financing your car. So I'm going to break it down like this. If you stretch it out, if you stretch out the payment on that $10,000 car, right, the longer you stretch it out for, right? The longer you stretch out that payment, if you go from 24 months to 72 months to 100 and whatever months, you know what I mean? Like, the amount that you're paying, that $10,000 getting stretched out. So monthly you're paying less. And this is where people buy. Like, they buy into that. They're like, yeah, let me do that. Lower payments? Oh, man, this car is cheap. But what you don't realize, yeah, you can afford it. What you don't realize is the interest part, which is what the bank is charging you to borrow their money to get that car. Same thing for a house. The banks are charging you interest. That interest could easily be like 6%. Now, here's the thing. When you stretch it instead of 30 years into 50 years, the first 20 years, you are just paying interest. So in other words, that balance that you originally borrowed, that $10,000 for basic numbers, that $10,000, you have not paid that down at all for 20 years. You are literally just paying interest for all of those years. So what does that look like from a business standpoint? Yo, businesses, right? I'm Trump right now, right? Yo, businesses. I got a way that more people will start buying because, you know, people, they fall in love with their ears, not with the facts. So I got a way that we could get people to start buying. We're going to stretch it out. It's going to be like $400 less in payments so people could afford houses again. But here's the catch. Most people won't catch this. First 20 years is straight profit for you. Banks, is straight profits for you. The last 30, you know, they start paying on their principal, you know, but the first 20, and most likely they never going to stay in their house for 20 years. So they paying nothing but interest. So they're basically borrowing the money, never paying the money down, and just giving you money because you let them hold your money for a while. That's the catch-22, which is why I started laughing when it first started, because so many people going to fall in love with this idea, not knowing that, this is a business move. You know what I mean? Like, Trump is a businessman. He's a businessman. So everything he's doing is for the sake of businesses to flourish. But he's finding ways to make it seem like, but this is good for you too. Okay.
Great idea. People are literally...
Oh, he loves it.
Donald Trump is proposing a 50-year mortgage.
Okay.
I see a lot of comments of people talking online saying this is a bad idea. This is a great idea. People are literally complaining right now about the housing crisis. They're saying we're never going to be able to afford a home under this current system. So Donald Trump says, ding, 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 a light bulb goes up, and he says, I have a solution, 50-year mortgages. I believe it was FDR who did the 30-year mortgage. We need the 50-year mortgage. In this economy, in this society, with all the economic problems we have, I actually believe a 50-year mortgage is the solution. Why? Because if you have a 25-year mortgage, let's just say at $2,000,
Listen, I found an easy way to make money on your phone. I've been telling y'all about it for a while now, and people have been sending me DMs of how much money they've been cashing out. So I'm gonna put one of them on the screen. So real quick, I wanna give a shout out to Mandy Lil Slim Goody T on Instagram. Y'all go follow her. This is her Instagram right here. She basically says she made $500. She already cashed out $100. Y'all can read the messages right here. Now, I mean, and I basically asked her, hey, is it okay if I post this and all that? And here's her screenshots of her earnings and then how much she cashed out. All right. So the downside of this, because there got to be a downside, right? The downside is you have to play games on your phone. And I know a lot of people don't like to play games on your phone, but this is easy money. Now, I mean, so just try it out. And when you click my link, click the link in the description below or the link in the comment section below, you start out with a free $5. It's crazy every time I think about it. So just try it out, see if it's for you. An extra $100 could pay a bill or two. Know what I mean? And when you start making money, send me a screenshot of your cash out so I could give you a shout out on my podcast as well. All right, y'all, back to the video.
realistically, that mortgage now becomes $1,000 a month instead of $2,000. Now you can afford it. Now some person making $3,000 a month can qualify for a mortgage that he wants for a nice house. So that house that's costing $1 million or whatever, now it costs that same $1 million, right? Of course, it's interest, right? We know about interest. We know how that works, right? I'm sure Trump has a plan to figure all that out. That's not what I'm talking about. People are ridiculing this, saying it's a bad idea. I see all this nonsense, and I just don't understand it. I did research. I did the math. It actually makes sense over the long run. Because most likely your income will go up because of inflation. Your income will go up. The amount of money you make will increase. So that 50-year mortgage will dang near be like a car payment for $200.
Yeah, all right. Yo, listen. The people that this will benefit for the most is the short-term people. The people that want to just buy and flip. That's really going to help for. And the reason why I say that is because, like, especially if you don't plan on having this property for a long time, because you're most likely not looking to pay down the principal. You're possibly looking like for somebody that gets like a fix and flip. I'll give you an example. There's a rundown house. Maybe it got burnt or something like that. Somebody tears it down and they rebuild the house or they renovate the house or whatever. Now, I mean, they put $5,000. I'm using very basic numbers for this. You can't use $5,000 to fix up a whole house. But $5,000. So now they have all in $15,000, right? Now the house looks nice. They have a low payment because the payment is stretched out for 50 years. Now, I mean, that is beneficial. That is beneficial because now you have a low payment, and until you're able to flip it, you know, you have a lower payment you got to worry about. Or if you're trying to get renters in there for a short period of time, you want to just make that short-term income, you know what I mean, and then possibly just sell it off, you know, while after making renovations or something. That I understand if you want to make some quick income or whatever. But if you're trying to hold that property, possibly pay that property off, and you're looking at 50 years, homie, I'm 29 right now, fairly still a young brother. I'll be dang near 80 years old by the time I can pay for that property. By the time I pay that property off, I'll be 80 years old. So needless to say, I'll be passing that property off to my next to kin. Generational debt at that point. 30 years, a lot of us got 30 more years in us. You know what I mean? Hopefully we got 50 more years. But 50 years is OD. For one property, that is a very long time. But like I said, for people that just, you know, they have no type of, you know, in their head, like I'm not going to lie, my duplexes that I have right now, these 2 duplexes I have, I don't plan on keeping them for the whole 30. You know, I really wanted a low payment more than anything. I got a pretty good interest rate, but being that it was like a business loan and stuff, and the way I make my money, you know, it's not W-2 form, you know, I had to like, you know, mess with the numbers a little bit, like pay a little bit extra for the numbers to come down. But me personally, I don't plan on keeping my properties for 30 years. Like, you know what I mean? Like I plan on eventually just selling them when the price, when the value goes up or whatever, and I just take the equity and I dip out. But right now I'm enjoying just the monthly revenue that it's making, but I do not plan on staying in there for 30 years, you know, and I can only imagine 50 years. So somebody like me, with the mindset I kind of go into it with sometimes, this might not be a super bad idea for me because I'm not somebody that really like focuses on how much I'm paying down. I'm more so playing like the short, long-term game of, okay, just make the money right now and then just sell it. But here's the thing, right? As the interest is being charged to you, like you get charged interest daily. Yeah, I mean, so dang, that really is a little tricky. I don't even know if it'd be beneficial for me. Like, unless the prices just spike crazy, you know. But yeah, I'm not really super sold on this, but I can see how it could be beneficial at the same time for some people. But to my people that's just trying to live and have their first property and stay there and, you know, nah. 50 years is OD. Do not get sold on what you just hearing.
A while. So I think people need to actually do the math, think about the future, think about inflation. You lock in a 50-year mortgage now, 10 years from now, your income triples because of inflation, and now that mortgage...
Nah, bro, it don't work like that, bro. You know how many people... No, what? What? I'm cutting his clip off right there. I'm sorry. He said your income triples because of inflation. What? You know how much inflation has went up and people's income has not moved at all? What are you talking about, bro? The price of chips is going to go up in 10 years. Not folks' income. Folks, there's still people out here making $10 an hour. There's still people out here making less than $10. What are you talking about? All right, we just gonna
propose the idea of a 50-year. President Trump recently proposed the idea of a 50-year mortgage. Honestly, it's not a bad idea.
Talk to me.
The average homeowner in the United States only stays in a house about 7 years. So even with a 30-year loan, nobody's holding it long enough to pay all that interest. They move. So why not go 50 years? Lower the payment and actually make home ownership affordable again. Focusing on reducing the price is not what anybody wants because the name of the game is to make money on the house. So let me show you why I think this makes sense for a 50-year mortgage. Take a $400,000 home at 6% interest. A traditional 30-year loan is going to run about $2,400 a month. A 50-year loan, roughly $2,100. That's a $300 difference every single month. Here's where it gets interesting. If you took that $300 and invested it in the S&P 500 with an average 9% annual return, after 10 years, you'd have about $58,000. Then at year 10, you drop that $60K onto your mortgage principal. That one move cuts your balance by 60 grand and saves you a huge amount of future interest. Meanwhile, your $400,000 home is appreciating, let's just say 4 to 5% a year. That same home could be worth $600,000. Combine that appreciation with your principal reduction, and you're sitting on over $300,000 in equity, starting from just a 5% down payment. Here's the key. A 50-year mortgage isn't about keeping it for 50 years.
5% down payment. People are going to be sold. Because right now, I think for the FHA, I'm not sure. I don't want to throw out no numbers if I'm wrong. Let me look it up.
It's about getting in the game, controlling your cash flow, and using time to your advantage. You can always pay it off faster, later, but you can't build equity on a home that you don't own.
It says the FHA down payment, first time home owners assistance. The FHA down payment is 3.5% of the home's purchase price for borrowers with a credit score of 580 or higher, and 10% for those with a credit score basically lower. So, I mean, if you don't have your FHA, I guess 5% is good.
President Trump recently proposed
30-year mortgage to a 50-year mortgage. If we had a 30-year loan, is a 50-year mortgage a good idea? I took some notes down so we can compare a 30-year mortgage to a 50-year mortgage. If we had a
Let's see
30-year
the
loan on a
numbers.
$400,000 house at today's rates, you would have a $2,660 monthly payment. If you were to get a 50-year loan on that $400,000 home at today's rates, your payment would drop to $2,380, saving you $280 a month. Principal per payment. This is saying how much of your mortgage payment is actually going toward paying off the loan. On a 30-year loan for that $400,000 house, you'd be paying off $327 per payment. With a 50-year mortgage, though, you'd only be paying off $47 per payment. Total interest by the end of the loan. At the end of the 30-year loan, you will have paid $957,600, $557K of that being interest. On the 50-year loan for the same exact house, you would end that 50-year period paying $1.713 million, $1.3 million of it being interest. And last stat.
Can I? Damn. How do I go back? I can't go back. Let me see if I go back.
If you were to own that home for 10 years with a 30-year mortgage, that $400K home, you now own $56,000 of it. You have $56K in equity. But after 10 years of the 40-year mortgage, you'll only own $14,000 worth of the home. You won't be able to refi, you'll hardly be able to sell, and by the end of it, you will have given the bank 3 to 4 times the amount of your mortgage. A 50-year mortgage is an awful idea.
All right, so the 30-year was 900,000. The other number was 1,700,000. Once again, this is why I say this is a great idea for business banks to make money. I picture it like this. I imagine when I hear stuff like this, I imagine Trump sitting down with some bankers, you know what I mean, or one of his, homies, his assistants, sitting down with some bankers saying, all right, y'all, we got to fix this. How we going to fix this? All right, I got an idea, okay? 30 years has been, the thing. We here to make change. We trying to make America great again, so we got to make changes, right? How about 50 years? Now, to the people, they going to see the payments. The payments going to be lower. They're going to be like, a discount, Black Friday houses, I need that. But here's the thing, y'all, right? Here's the thing. Are you listening? Put your phone down. Are you listening? Here's the thing. Over that span of 50 years, we got 20 years of straight profit. Right now, we got like maybe 5 or 10, depending on the situation. But 50, we guaranteeing at least 20 years of straight profit. They try to get a house for $400,000. Yo, we are making at least $1,300,000 off of that one house. But to them, they just see the small payments. But they not seeing overall how we doing them dirty. We winning at the end of the day. I mean, of course, it's us. We're the banks. So what do y'all think? Well, I think that's a great idea. Let's do it. Let's put it out there. Don't execute yet. Let's see how the people reply. Just put it out there. And that's how the conversation went.
Stretched out the loan so you can afford the monthly payments. And that's essentially what they're doing with this. The reason your car loan is 6 years instead of 4 is because they've stretched out the loan so you can afford the monthly payments. And that's essentially what they're doing with this 50-year mortgage. Let's at least look at the math. You found a house for $750,000 and somehow you've managed to save 20% down. You're going to need a loan for $600,000 and your interest rate is going to be 6%. When we compare the monthly payment of 30 years and 50 years, you end up saving $439 per month on the 50-year loan. This sounds really nice. However, when we look at how much you actually end up paying, for 30 years, it's about $1.3 million, and for 50 years, it's $1.9 million. And the purple numbers here represent the amount of interest.
These numbers to a business owner, or to a bank owner, I should say, when they put this on the chart, because they presented these numbers. We not the first one to come up with this. They presented these numbers. And the banks was like, word? Instead of $695,000, I could make $1 million. I could double that 1,200,000. Word? Put that out there. Make them feel good with the lower payment. Yeah, we gonna get it on the back end. Word? That's how the conversation went.
Interest you end up paying. So just by stretching out your loan, they're going to end up making an extra $600,000 from you. And some people are saying, well, at least now they can afford a home. No, they cannot afford it. They're just stretching out the payments. And most first-time homebuyers are in their 30s. So I guess we'll just have a mortgage payment until we're 80 and then pass the house off to, I don't know, our non-existent kids. The reason your car loan is 6 years is...
You know, I enjoy doing these videos so much because I learn with y'all as, I watch these. And before I do my videos, I do a lot of research, kind of get my talking pieces, and I don't want to just get on camera and be talking crazy out of something I really don't know nothing about, even if I'm learning as we're watching as well. But you know what I love about this so much? If y'all watch my videos, y'all will notice that it's always a catch-22 when it comes to, oh, it's for the people. Oh, we're doing this for y'all. We're trying to make your lives better. This is for you. We love you. Go America. Anytime you see stuff like that, it's always a catch-22. And these videos that I be doing, and we find videos like this, it's like, damn, they tried us again. Or they trying us again. And, this is probably going to go into effect. Not much you can do. So you might want to grab some property while you can. But it's just, it's very interesting to see. But I think I'll play one more video.
$1,000 stimulus check. Instead of paying off a house for 30 years with interest, you can now pay it off in 50 years. However, people did the math, and if you paid it off in 50 years instead of 30, you would spend 3 times the amount in interest alone.
Give me an example.
If a house were to cost $400,000 and you put a $20,000 down payment on the house to buy it, 50 years, you would pay a total of $1,168,745 in interest alone by November 2075.
2075?
Yes, this is because a 50-year mortgage loan would mean you're paying higher interest rates as well than if you did a 30-year loan or less. Because if you took a 30-year loan for a $400,000 house, you would only pay $484,669 in interest. Calculated using the average interest rate of 6.5%, while the 50-year loan would have an average interest rate of 8%.
Isn't the average age for the first-time homebuyer 40 years old?
Yeah, so you would be 90 by the time you paid off your first house. However, the average U.S. citizen only lives to...
I didn't even think about that. Most people don't even have money to buy a house until they're like 40. That's something I really do. Like, I don't think I've appreciated enough being in the military and stuff. I was 24 when I bought my house. I was either 23 going on 24. I was 24. Either way, it was in 2020. So I was 24 when I first bought my house. But that's not a common occurrence. And the more I talk to people, the more I learn that most people don't have money to buy a house till they're 40. So telling them, hey, here's a 50-year mortgage, you're basically saying you can be 100 paying this off. By the time you're 100 years old, you'll pay this off. No worries. No worries. You're going to be living off of your disability. You got not even your disability. You're going to be living off of your retirement that does not move with inflation. That is the craziest thing I've ever learned in my adulthood. That my grandmother is still making money from the W Hotel from when she retired back in, I think my grandmother retired like back in 2004. And you know how much the prices have changed? And she got that same retirement check? When I found that out, I was like, nah, bro, this is a lie. There's no way y'all are getting me to work 20 years for retirement. And it doesn't even move with inflation. There's no way I'm doing that. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. But I'm going to end this video here. All right, so now I want to hear from y'all. So make sure y'all comment below. I want to hear from y'all. How do y'all feel about the 50-year mortgage? Are you going to hurry up and go buy a home now? Is this your opportunity? Are you somebody that's on the side of, man, I'm with the low payments? Like, forget the 50 years because I ain't trying to hold it for 50 years. Because if that's how you thinking, I ain't mad at you. You know what I mean? Everybody's not trying to stay in a property for 50 years. I don't think I'm going to stay in any of my properties for 30 years. You know what I mean? I just don't see myself doing it. My last property that I just sold, it was a quadplex downtown Atlanta. Man, I held that for a year. I held that for a year, did some renovations, and things started getting a little funny. The water system was bugging out on me. I got a quote. They said it'll take $30,000 to fix it. I sold the building. You know what I mean? Take it. You know, and the next person, they knew about the water and everything, so I took my profits and dipped. You know, so everybody doesn't stay in their property for 50 years, 30 years, just because they sign up for 30 years, 50 years. Just like cars. Most people don't keep their cars for that whole time. They might trade it in or something. But consider all the numbers, all right? Because this will mess with your equity. If you don't know what equity means, it means your profit when it comes time to sell it. You don't want to wind up upside down where you still owe on the house, but you trying to sell the house now. Yeah, I mean, but it can't sell for how much you owe. So anyways, it's been your boy, Top Boogie. Like I say in all my videos, if you want to make some extra money just playing games on your phone, all you got to do is click the link in the description below or the link in the comment section below. Now, I mean, these apps, they're literally paying people just to play games on your phone, and it's crazy every time I think about it. So try it out for yourself. See if it's for you. If it's for you, it's for you. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But if you catch yourself making money, make your money, all right? Until next time, y'all, it's me, your boy, Ty Boogie. I'm out of here, man. Peace.